Hi folks, welcome to another video here on Nick's Vision to Hear. Welcome to it. If you haven't liked and subscribed the channel and you may have just found this to be your first video experience with us, well, why not like and subscribe? We're a little community of people with vision impairments and hearing impairments and their friends and families. We bring information to you to help you guide yourself through life. Today I want to talk about, in our series of Out and About, we're going to talk about going out with family and friends. Now, while this can be an enjoyable experience, there's a few things that your family and friends may not understand that you need to get around safely. Let's talk about going out with your family and friends for a meal. This is a very common occurrence when family have birthdays or there's anniversaries or whatever the case may be. And for us, it can be a bit different to that of those who are sighted. So and have full hearing. So let's talk about it from a perspective of when you leave home. If you're going with your other family, that's fine. You'll have someone to take you there. Many times, it's not always the case. You have to get your own way to the particular venue where you're going to. Now, your family must understand this, that you may have to take time to get there. It may take you longer than them just picking up the keys and going out the door. You actually have to get there on your own via public transport. Now, that may take some time and you have to do a lot of planning to get there. So if you need to, ask someone if they're on your way to pick you up. Now, that's not a burden on people. That's simply making sure that you get there, for one, on time, and two, you get to enjoy the experience without the stress of public transport. If you use taxis, taxis can be a very useful tool because you're dealing with a one-on-one conversation with you and the driver. And if your family feel that, well, we might have a night off driving, take them with you. Let them learn what it's like for you to travel on public transport. This is a good thing for your family to learn, is how you get around. Then let them see how you get around. It's always a very handy idea. Now, when you get to where you're going, you need to understand that you may not have even been to this venue before. So you're walking into new territory. And that new territory may even be as soon as you open the door of the venue. You may walk into a place that has stark lighting or very dim mood lighting. It doesn't suit you. Now, not that they will change everything for you, but you've got to be able to adapt into those situations. Your family need to understand this. If you are not the person who booked the venue, the person who did must understand, they must tell the venue that they have a person with a vision and hearing impairment. It must be told to the venue. The reason for that is for them to make sure they understand what and who they are dealing with. Let me explain. When you arrive for a meal, you're usually with your family. The problem is that you may always be put in the same spot in the middle of the table where the same people sit around you. But those of your generation are always arriving later, so you're never sitting with those who you would connect with easily. It's nice to sit around parents and that sort of thing to talk, but it's also nice to catch up with siblings and other family members whom you don't see very regularly. But you're always put with the parents and with the oldies because you're the first to arrive. And that's generally how it happens. The vision and hearing impaired person makes sure they're always on time. The others don't. So let's talk about that for a moment. If your family have this idea that the grandparents and the parents have to sit in the middle of everything to be front and center to everybody, change that attitude. They have to realize that you, as the vision or hearing impaired person, must sit where you can be given opportunity to talk to those who you connect with, and that is your age group. I see this a lot where people who are vision or hearing impaired or have disabilities are always sitting with the oldies. They do not like this. It's not fun for us. It isn't fun, and nor should it be fun. Even if people have to move around a little bit to suit what you need, but you don't want to take it over, but you simply want to be the person that can enjoy the experience just like they do. Now, when it comes to the meal, you need to see the menu of this place before you even go in the door. That's important. So whoever books your room or table for an event or a little lunch or whatever, they should ask the venue if they have a PDF version of their menu for the sight and vision impaired person or hearing impaired person to look at. Now, why would a hearing impaired person want to look at the menu ahead of time? When they're in a room with a lot of people, there's a lot of noise around. That distracts their concentration. So they may want to look at the menu in a quiet place before they go in. The next thing to understand is when the person's ordering their meal, this needs to be very clear. When the person goes to take the orders at the table, you need to ask that person, if a sighted person needs to do this, we have a sight or vision impaired and hearing impaired person in this room. We need you to go to that person to take their order, and they will be reading off their phone as they have a copy of the menu on there so they can read it up close to them. It needs to be explained to people, and once a restaurant realizes that, they'll go, that's a good idea, isn't it? And they learn by what they are told and what they are shown. Lighting is important where the person sits. This is a real cliffhanger. Whenever you go to a venue, I've seen this before. Venues love to mood light because the idea is that you mood, you're relaxed, you're chill, you'll drink more. There's actually a way around that, psychology used in that. But you need light to be able to do one thing, and that's to function, to eat and drink. So you need to make sure that the lighting you're sitting near is comfortable for you. Not for everyone else, but for you. Let's now talk about the socialization aspect of going out. Everyone loves this. Everyone loves it, sees people with disabilities going out, and they're all, we see a lot of NDIS people taking their people with disabilities. That's great. Here's one thing many people don't understand. It's not always fun for you, okay? Let's point this out. When a person is hearing or vision impaired, they have to make very, very big adjustments to be there. And that's what some people don't understand. So let's talk about this. When I go out with friends and family, I sometimes don't engage in a lot of conversation. You can't hear the people because there's some guy over the back on a table over the back that's had a skinful of grog and he wants to tell the whole room about his life story. Or there's a guy behind the bar who has a lovely attempt at clinking bottles quite loudly. This is stuff that people don't understand that actually makes people nervous about going out somewhere. Now, multiple conversations on one table is where also, and I know people want to talk, and I know that people love to have a bit of a catch up. We all do. But for a vision impaired or hearing impaired person, this is actually quite a bad thing. Let me explain why. Vision and hearing impaired people don't have an even ability to be able to hear evenly out of each ear nor see out of each eye. There is a difference between what they do. Unless their vision is the same and the hearing is the same and it's deteriorated at the same time. It's not always the case. So when you talk about that, what people don't understand is that the complexity of talking to somebody, you should always make sure you make eye contact with the person. Speak to them, not at them. Now, I've seen this before where you'll be in a conversation. There's a person sitting over there who's busting their guts to talk to you about something, There's another person here who wants to do the same thing. Here's what you've got to do. You've got to go, hang on, stop. Can I just talk to you first, then to you? What you've got to do that for is to stop people simply overlapping each other. And that's where there becomes a problem. Let's talk about accessibility when and where you need to go to the conveniences. This is not always an easy thing to do and navigate in some venues. Some venues use the hallway to the toilets as storage areas, which they do, and you can understand they do that. But it's not always user-friendly. So you need to think of these things as well when you go out. Lastly, and I know I'm talking quite a bit in this video, but this is what we have to understand is when we leave or when people start to leave. Let's go back a little bit. Not everybody leaves together. Some people, the oldies or ones with kids, the young kids, will want to leave early. But here's what happens to the sight impaired or hearing impaired person. Because they've been sat near all the oldies, they're on their own. Everyone else is down the ends of the table. Do you see what I mean? So the people who you normally would associate with, that you would like to be with, you have to move. They don't have to move. So this is where organising the table at an event for a family around people's disabilities makes sense. When we go out with my brother's family, his mother-in-law needs area to park her walking frame, and she has the walking trolley and she needs to sit. That's understandable because she has to be able to maneuver into place and be able to get herself around. We always factor that in. But what's interesting is my disabilities are never factored in when we go out anywhere. It's never actually factored in. So it's something that even in my family and yours, we really do need to help each other. So that's the tips for today. When you go out next time, factor these things in. You need to enjoy yourself as much as everybody else does. And if your family need any help, show them this video. They may be very interested in what we have to go through to get somewhere. As always, if you've enjoyed this video and you'd love to hear more content, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell and you'll see information whenever we release a new video, when I have a bright idea about what I'd like to share with you. Again, thank you very much for your time. I'm Nick Pollock from Nick's Vision to Here, right here on YouTube. Thanks for your time.